Hello everybody, how good of you to join. Welcome to Anno 1800, the Docklands. The latest DLC has just been released and we are back in Crown Falls at our Megacity. So if you're new to this Let's Play, then just have a look at the quick links and also right here on the info tab about the Let's Play that led to this massive city that we started from scratch. And yeah, we are here now in Crown Falls with its whopping, well, 130,000 inhabitants that we have so far. Of course, this city is by no means completed yet, and in this DLC we can finally now continue with the development, and that is a huge harbor area. The first thing that I noticed right away, was a huge surprise to me, is that the mods are still working. So if you have mods installed yourself, just install the DLC and all the mods should still be working. That's actually the first time that this happens. All the other 6 DLCs always broke my mods. So yeah, we can continue with the mods right away. Now, isn't that a nice change? Back here in Crown Falls, our exquisite metropolis, we still have our hotel guests here too. We will have to kick them out with the tourism DLC, but for now we should be fine. First things first, what I need to do here is decide on a harbor area where I want to use these new docklands. So we do have this harbor area, this one, and this one. This one here I want to keep for my tourism DLC, so this is the main entrance for the tourists. Then at some point, this one here is already being used for my warehouse, the great trading post that we have there. And since the harbor life is only on this side here, then it would look a bit strange, I think. So we're going to have the docklands in this area here. Why? Basically because we already have our industrial zone in this area, so it also makes sense to me to continue here with a big major harbor area. Well, the ships are going to come in then from here as well, so this should be quite simple to actually use. What we need to do for starters is we need to get rid of these depots there, so let's just build a few more depots on the other side of Crown Falls. So yeah, in this area there, very good. Let's just make a couple of them. We're going to get rid of them again, right? So once we are done upgrading and building things here, now we can delete those depots there for good. I'm also going to get rid of those sand mines and of those 3 glass makers here, since we're going to need that space. One thing that we can see here right away is a new type of street that comes with the latest DLC, and that is, if I just continue now with my street into the ocean, well, then it becomes a pier or a quay, and just like that. And we can build, you know, something like that out here in the harbor, which is fantastic. This was always lacking up to this point, and now we have an option like that. We also have, let's see, those 2 depots here, and we do have those 3 shipyards that I don't need for now. Let's get rid of them. And the sand mine there. We still have now the ground oil harbor. Now this one I would move to, I think, let's just see, probably, where is it? There it is. Into this area there. It's limited to 1 per island. Let's just wait for this oil ship to pass by, delivering some oil there to the oil harbor. And as we can see, there's no oil in it at the moment anyway, so we can get rid of it and rebuild it a bit more on this side here, a bit further away than from our actual harbor area. And let's get rid of those streets there. We still have the tracks, of course, and they're going to be merged here, and then those tracks go all the way to that side and into this oil harbor there. Very good. So this is where the trains commute, right? And then, well, we have a lot of space now for the harbor area. One thing that I would still like to do though, before I start with that, is having my sand mines that I just destroyed on this side here. We don't need that many fishes anymore, so, or fisheries, so we can just now get a few more of these sand mines here. And yes, also here we can see the new street type is coming into play. Fantastically beautiful with that. Very good, that is that. And of course I also deleted some glass makers. We can have them, well, basically up here, since we do have a bit of space now in our industrial zone. I guess those 2 will be fine for now, and that's about it. Let's get started. We have a quest, raising the docklands, and Captain Tobias tasks you with building a small docklands aggregate. So this is the new guy here. He seems rather prone to alcoholism. And build Docklands main wharf and Docklands modules that we have. So it's similar to the palace, I think, as we have some Docklands. Oh, we still also have this harbor master there. Should not be in its area. And then we have the Docklands building itself. Now I can decide how I want to build it. Do I want to build it a bit more outside, or do I want to build it a bit more on the inner side? And I think, yeah, I kind of like a balance between it, right? So let's also just see that we have enough space there to the oil harbor that should still be free. And then we can kind of like build it here, I think. this should be a fine spot for it. It's also going to act as a pier for us, right? Build modules to add features to your harbor area. Now, one thing that we can do here right away is we can connect the whole thing with those new streets that I like a lot. And we do also get a lot of new ornaments as well into the play here. For example, an industrial crane, and look at that, we could use this one right next to it. We do have finally some lighthouses as options now. I think a lighthouse out here would be wonderful. Why? Because basically we want to warn those ships, be aware there is some mountains here. And a pale lighthouse perhaps. And let's try to make them look a bit to the same, right? So if it's dark, people know now there is no way of going there, so the ship will always have to maneuver through those lighthouses there. The harbor crane we do have some barrels, and we can add all of these things then to our freshly made harbor area now here, and making this a bit more beautiful, right? And some rowboats here, and fish traps, and whatever we need for... Oh, what is that? Oh, a docked freighter, for example. Yeah, right next to it. Fantastic that we have the first ones, right? And we can connect this one then with a street there, just like that. Also something for people to sit on if they want to, but that's coming for later. For now, we have the main building itself. As we can see, the first ships are docking on it right away. And yeah, with that, we do have now the modules available. So we can now build 5 out of the depots, for example, 3 repair cranes, and also the export and import menu that we have there. Let's go into the modules first. What we can see here is the depot. I can build now 5 times, 4 starters, and we can... Oh, go away there, please. We can now build them where we want them. They should have a connection with the streets then. And as we can see, they can also be attached right next to the main building here, right? Like this. And I think this is fantastic. Let's make the rest blueprint, actually. It's similar to the palace. We could have now this structure going into these areas there. And then we could use, for example, the pier. And the pier that we have here, we could connect also with the depots right away. So I think the depots will work, or could work, similar to a... Oh, the trading office that we have there could similar work as a curvature, right? Something like that, so that we get the first depots. Let's actually build them. He wants me to build 3 of those modules first. There we have them. They're going to add a bit now to the general storage there. It doesn't look bad, right? We could then have some more of these streets then on those sides. And next up would be the export and import contracts that we have. Let's have a look at that. And this is the core mechanic of this new DLC, the export and import. And here we can now see our menu that we have, right? So this is our goods. This is the importer goods for globals. And we can now export those goods here. And the more we export of them, the higher they get on the rank here to the specialty exports. And each time they rank up here, they get a better bonus. For example, right now the exchange rate for, let's take champagne, because that is one of our special products. We can produce quite a lot of that. Is a ratio of 1. So whatever this one is worth it, times 1, right? And if this one levels up, then it's times 1.2, times 1.4, 1.6, and 2 times 2. Let's just see this on the example of, what should we import with that? I might go with potatoes. And as we can see, the ratio is 1 to 16, right? And this one is getting then times 1.2 once I level up the champagne, for example. Out of the 50 champagne, I would get 800 potatoes out of it. This is a bit much. I don't need that many potatoes. We could try the same thing with soap. As we can see, it's already not that worth it anymore. Let's go with soap for now, because there is an important thing here. I need to get trade volume activated, right? So I can't just take anything here. So I should be careful of what I import. And we also have a lot of locked items at this point. That means I need to trade things first with it. So for example, the Sanga cow, in order to import, I first need to have 180 goods exported. And I would like to see, because we are really lacking some chocolate, for example, where is the chocolate here? So that we could import the chocolate. There it is. In order for this one here to be imported, we first need to import plantains. Right, so this one here needs to be imported first, and for this one here to import, we need to export 550 goods first. We might be going for a cheaper good first, because we have the higher volume then. like fish. And fish to potatoes can be traded in high quantities, like 1-to-1. And we do want to reach the plantain. And well, my first major import good should be chocolate, I think, because this is really something that we don't have that much. And also rum. Well, with rum, I've got other goals, so that's why I'm going into with the potatoes there. So 1,000 plantains reach a certain export volume for any item, and 540. So with the next trade, we should actually unlock these things right away, and we can keep it like that now. Let's go back. We can see that the next trader is coming in 13 minutes, 14 minutes almost. He's going to trade then. Oh, look at that. Even the airship is docking at the Docklands and using it, the main wharf that we have there for trading. That's pretty cool. Now export 1,000 tons of a certain good, and this would be the fish, obviously, first. We don't need that much fish, it's easy to produce, so the quantities will matter here. While this is happening, now why did I choose potatoes? Well, because we don't have that much rum, and rum is always scarce, also in the New World. Now I could have a look at my research institute, and here I'm researching something right now that makes it possible for us to build rum productions in the Old World. And that will need potatoes, potato and coal, which is pretty strange, right? Let's have a look at that. There it is. Advanced rum distillery needs coal and potatoes. So potatoes I'm going to need quite a lot. And potatoes, what do they require the most? Space. And space I don't have that much anymore anywhere on my islands. Right here I would have a bit of space, but certainly not enough to actually complement all of that with my rum. Now, while I was revisiting my trade routes, I also noticed that, well, oil was not being delivered now to Crown Falls, obviously because we got rid of the oil harbor. Unfortunately, we need to assign it again, but it's not a bad idea, because what we can see here now too is another new feature, and that is we can finally group the trade routes. So I could now say create a new trade route for the oil, and the trade route will now appear down here. This is a new group that I would still need to rename to oil, for example. And then I could just put all of these here and assign them to the oil. Right, like this. And boom. Now we have a group of oil, and I can just close it if I want to and make this whole thing go away for now. And I could do this with a lot of things, like the cotton productions, for example, like the fur productions. I could group everything that is basically just importing goods or raw materials and then advanced materials. So that makes it a lot easier, especially when you have so many trade routes activated like now. That is something to keep in mind. Let's build the next depot there right away. Advance on my Docklands. We might also build some other modules there entirely. We have enough time still, 10 minutes there, and we're lacking a bit of oil, so there's also electricity missing in my town, I think. So we could just advance on that with another modules then here. Let's have a look. So this one here is pretty interesting. The loading wharf, so reduces the loading times for local ships by 50% and also gives plus 15 attractiveness for the island itself. Now we have the maximum of attractiveness, but I think it's still pretty cool that we can add this one, and it speeds up the loading times for our ships. Let's just build one of them here and hope that it kind of works then. There we have it now. And as we can see, it should now be affecting already this one here then, the main wharf, and thus my ships. Now another really cool thing that I just noticed is, if for example, if I now build my repair crane, if I want to have a repair crane here, for example, and I build it close to this module there, it actually adjusts itself so that it is a corner module. That is pretty cool. So this wasn't happening with the palace yet, so makes it a lot easier. We don't need the corners, right? I could just, for example, take also my export offices, increases the number of export import contracts you can use. Sounds pretty good. So we can now add it here, and as we can see, it's being automatically adjusted to this area. And then I could just add some other thing right next to it, like for example now, oh, not the pier yet, but perhaps a harbor master. We might have this one, or we could also have this one here, and the repair crane that we have there, right? As we can see, it's now adjusting to a corner module. So this is pretty cool. Let's actually build this one right away. So there we have now the export office then as well in this area, and right next to it the repair crane. So now we can also repair ships that are coming in. In this case, it doesn't make sense to have the loading wharf now in this area, but we might be using it now on some of the other areas like this one here, right? If we make this one a corner like that, perfectly working, and we then continue with another, let's say, depot like this. Fantastic, I love that. And perhaps then a harbor master office something like that here. And then we could also have the first piers. As we can see, we're coming in closer now to the limit of what we can achieve here. Actually, I think it makes sense to have this one here for now, right? So that we create this harbor area. And the interesting part now is, does it adjust even more? Yes. So if I continue now expanding the harbor area here, it does go into a T-section building. Perfect. Absolutely fantastic overall. And let's continue then with this pier that we want to have here. This is now where ships can dock. And on the other side, I might finish with those two buildings there. Alright, so there we got a few more buildings coming up. And of course, this one here doesn't fit that much. That ship would never be able to get out of here. So we can just make a bigger harbor area here as well then. Then we might add some nice ornaments to it. Right next to our train station here. Or train tracks that we have there. This one here I don't need, by the way. So let's just get rid of that. And instead of that, we might be having something else then here. No idea yet. Alright, when's the first trade happening actually? In 6 minutes still, so we still have a bit of time. The first ships are docking already. I should probably get those guys away there. Yep, very good. Let's get away of them. We have a lot of ships waiting out there, especially my battleships that I should probably group up as well there. If we want to continue with that. Oh, there's also some ships waiting now. Stations. They probably want to dock on even more parts here. And yeah, while we wait on those tracks, we could just continue with beautifying our harbor area. There's truly a lot of stuff that we have here that we could add to the whole thing. Also something for tourists, for example, to, you know, watch the day and stuff like that here in the center. And also some benches here where people can sit on a promenade, something like that. And some lighting as well, like this one here, lighting. And some, well, trees behind it, like in this area there. And then just continue with more streets again. Of course, this is only the first version, so don't worry if this isn't looking as to your liking. So we're going to see a lot of these buildings coming up, and I will definitely have to remodel this area quite a few times before this is going to be a final version of it. But we have the materials, we have the money for it, so I can just happily continue with that. Very good. So there we have a couple of ornaments now in the center. This one here belongs to the building itself, so I can't do that much here. And then we just make this whole area full now for a nice, beautiful, big harbor area, at least for now. Of course, as I said, we are going to add more modules. Now we're still waiting on the first contract here. What I would like to do in the meantime is I would like to continue with building my items. So we got a few more items coming in now that I can use for my zoo. So as we can see, oh yeah, very good. Some water items here. So black swallower that we can use in our water area of the park, of the zoo that we have there. Very good. And this one here is a bison. I think this one we might put, yeah, into the area where we're using more the African animals there. And no, I don't want any defectors. And also on the other side, there we have the botanical gardens. And also here I do have some additional water plants that we can also use now. Here, like the water lily. And this one here actually should be something else. And I don't think we have anything for it now. Let's just keep it like that. Oh, I think also the botanical garden is more or less finished. So we have placed all the slots in there. There's also a lot of people. I'm also glad to see that the Research Institute has some power. Again, power was out there since we lacked the oil and the gas. But for now, we are working again. So this is still taking a bit of research time there. But, and that's a huge but, we have finished the clay moving mechanic, right? That I'm especially looking forward to, because we can now get rid of these clay deposits here. There's a clay pit here already. Let's just get rid of this clay one there. And now we can move the clay deposit. And we can move it to any place of our liking. And that is pretty cool, because we can now, for example, say that my clay collectors, yes, they should perhaps be up here, right? And confirm the position. This is final. So if I want to move it again, I have to research this one again. And now we can just have, boom, our clay collector here. I could do the same thing then in this area there too. By the way, we have a police station there. And that also means that I can now get rid of those brick factories here. They look ugly anyway. And the fire station here. And boom, I do have a bit more space again to advance my city. That is this area here, just across the train tracks that we have. Fantastic, where the train is right now passing by. Oh, by the way, I do need to place those brick factories again. And this should actually... this is not working. Let's get rid of the police there. I don't think we'll ever need it anyway. And have those 2 brick factories there once again. And of course, the next clay pit comes right here, and the brick factory is just behind it. And that should be it then. It's closer to the mountains, makes a lot of sense. Fantastic. And after a bit of time, our first exporter and importer trader is coming in, Captain Tobias, with a very interesting ship. And he's now moving towards Crown Falls, and yeah, must be a beautiful sight that he's got on the ship, because as he is now sailing past the mountain here, the whole city opens up right in front of him. That is just so beautiful. And he's actually also docking at one of our outer piers here that we have there. Very good. Let's just do that and see what happens then. Oh, very good. And we actually traded 1,000 tons of fish. And now we should be able to expand our trade contracts. There we have them. And as we can see, first of all, we can have now 2 contracts at the same time. We also have now leveled up the fish, finally, for something. Now, the first thing that I could be doing right now is then the plantain. Import this good. He wants me to import this one here. How many times? 900 times in order to unlock something. Well, we might just be using some champagne here. And I could say trade me 100 champagne. Oh, that's not quite enough yet, so let's make this one. That's 980 plantain then, very good. And we can also get rid of the fish now, because honestly, I don't need to trade any more fish. Now, we could of course also say, for example, that I want to import some rum. But I guess we are fine on that, right? We do have a lot of, let's just say, champagne. We are trading this for the plantain there already. Not much though. And I would like to upgrade champagne to the highest level. And of course I can use the same good twice. So we're going to use champagne now for the plantains first. And then I would also like to import perhaps something else that we do need a bit. Oh, coal would be nice, wouldn't it? Let's just see. Actually, let's stick with the fish for now, because in order for the fish, in order for that, we do need to reach a certain volume on one item there to reach these levels up here, as we can see. So the pocket watches and the penny farthings, I want both of these goods. Sewing machines is another thing that we have plenty of, so no problem here. What we really lack at the moment is rum. That I would want to battle, of course. Let's just import something else that we might need. So plantains, that's coming in, very good for the chocolate. We have a lot of cigars, perhaps the coffee, that's chocolate then. So this is all basing on each other. We might take coal. We don't have that much coal. And yeah, the ratio is actually almost 1:1. I think it's 1:1. But what we can see is we have level 1 here with the fish. So it's 1.2 now, right? So we don't need to do that much here. Let's actually go with one. Actually, we only have 2,000. So let's go with 1,000 fish for now. This is the next 2 trade contracts. With that, we should open up more. Gold ore would be also something here that is interesting, because those things are rather rare. And oh, by the way, can we do it with gas? Gas, I guess, would be a bit cheaty, but no. Okay, gas is not possible. Only consumer goods, not gas, unfortunately. That would be amazing if we could just trade the gas. Right, and now we do... Oh, he's still departing, so that doesn't even happen yet. So off he goes again, and we need to wait for the next trade contract then. And now we have 2 open, so I guess there will be 2 ships then coming in and stuff like that. And I think we also have unlocked a couple of more modules. Yes, so we can now also expand the size of the harbor there once again. I like the depots to use for that, because they kind of like are wings to us, right, that we could use on either direction then. And of course, we also would like to have more on the pier. So let's add a second... Oh no, actually, let's not do this. A second pier here right away would be bad. But having a depot right next to it, that makes sense, right? And yeah, also expanding the harbor area. For that, we do need the harbor master then. And then we can continue here with the Docklands. Hope you enjoyed this one. Stay tuned.